In this week's video, I'm going to show you the steps that I take to get wood looking like this to looking like this. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Jason with Ben's Woodworking. Today's video is actually a video that I did very early on. I think it was one of my first couple videos. However, due to the advancements in technology, the quality of the videos have gotten much better, and I wanted to revisit this topic. And this topic is going to be the process that I take for milling lumber. I understand that not everybody is going to have a jointer and planer. However, if you're really into woodworking, at some point you will probably invest in a joiner and planer. And one of the first questions that I had when I started is, what do I do with these machines and how do I use them and what's going to be most effective? Over the last couple of years, I have found some different techniques that may not be the typical thing that you do see. For the most part it is, but there is a step or two that I go slightly different. And in this video, I'm going to show you those steps, and I'm also going to explain exactly why I do them. I chose now to revisit this because I actually do need to mill down this very rough walnut for a current project that I'm working on. So what better opportunity than now to go ahead and redo this video. Here are the steps that I like to take. I like to joint a face, then I like to run it through my thickness planer, ensuring that I have a uniformed thickness throughout. Then what I do is take it back to my jointer, and I have two faces that are perfectly flat and parallel with each other that I can reference off of the fence itself. So it doesn't matter what direction I feed, I can simply run it through. I get my edge from the jointer. I will then take my perfectly uniformed thick piece with a perfect 90-degree edge to both of those faces, and then I will run it through my table saw. So now I'm going to go ahead and walk you through from start to finish the steps that I take and show you the finished product. So I've got my board, and the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to look down that board and I'm going to identify what side I actually want to joint first. And so things that I'm looking for is if this board was bowed this way, obviously this would be the bottom. Any kind of twist, any kind of high spots, I know that this is going to be my bottom. This board specifically has a lot of very uneven spots on the top. So I'm going to start with this side as my first surface that I am going to joint. Okay, so I have one face jointed. Everything is perfectly flat, nice and smooth. Now, the reason that I like to go from jointer to planer to get a uniform thickness is really quite simple. Let's say that now I want to give my 90-degree edge. I only have one face that I can reference against the fence, that face being here. This board specifically goes kind of like this, and so this is the high end, this is the bowed end. So the front and back are going to be touching, and I'm going to be taking off the material on the ends. If I had to do it this way, I would end up taking a lot more material off because I'm going to take off a lot of this material, and slowly but surely I'll work my way back. So again, you always want that bow to be down or that arch to be down. So in this case, if I decided to run this through with my reference surface on the fence, I have one direction in which I can push it through and still joint the edge that I want to. Let's say that I'm pushing it through, and as I push it through, I realize that I'm going against the grain, because not all woods are so easy to tell the grain direction. If that's the case, I know that I'm going to want to flip it. I can't flip it in this case. The only way that I can flip it is by turning it this way, and now I'm jointing the edge that I don't want to joint. So the solution is I run it through my planer. If I run it through my planer and I'm using this surface or this face as a reference, if I push it through and I'm going against the grain, the way that I can joint the edge that I want to joint and take off the least amount of material would be by flipping it. And if I flip it, it's okay after I run it through my planer because I have a uniform thickness and my face is going to be against the fence, and my fence is 90. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and run it through the planer now and go to the next step. So now I've got a perfectly uniform thickness piece after running it through my planer. Now, this board, as I discussed earlier, this is the edge that is going to be jointed. Why? Because the board kind of has this sort of arch to it, as where this one on the top has that same arch. So in order to take off the least amount of material, I'm going to start on the bowed edge. And as I was stating earlier, now I have the ability to flip it in either direction based off the way the grain is running to avoid any tear out, because I have two parallel surfaces that I can choose from when referencing it on my fence. So I follow those steps. I make sure that I have a good 90 degree on this board, on my edge, which I do, as you can see. And now I have a uniform thickness piece with a perfect 90 degree edge. Now this will become my reference for the table saw, where I will make my final cut to my final width. What I've learned over time is that this has just really saved me a lot of headaches, because now I never really have to worry about the direction of the grain so much when I'm jointing any of my edges, and it really just works out great, and my results have come out a lot cleaner since I've done this. As always, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you found this information useful. Try it out next time you're working in the shop and just see if it works for you. If it doesn't, or you think something is wrong, or you don't agree with me, or you have anything at all to say, please feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. And as always, if you are not following me on Instagram, go check me out there at Bent's Woodworking, and you'll get to follow along with what I'm doing pretty much on a daily basis. Also, any of the tools that I did use in this video, I will leave affiliate links down below should you choose to purchase them and or find out more information about them. Thank you again, everybody, so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.